So while loop we have seen first condition will be checked, then statements are executed. Again you are getting updated I value, again going to condition first, then while body inside statements will be executed. That's a process of while loop. And what is a do while loop? So understand do while. So that means first do the statements, then check the condition. That's a do while loop. So first the statements inside the loop execute and then the condition gets evaluated. If the condition returns true, then the control gets transferred to the do block and it again executes the statement that presented in the loop body. If the condition returns false, then control flow directly, it jumps to out of the loop and it executes the next statement after the loop. So that means in the do while loop, first statements will be executed at least once before the condition becoming false. That's the do while loop concept. This is the syntax: initialization, do, curly braces start, statements are increment or decrement, curly braces end, then immediately while bracket condition semicolon. So this is the do while loop. And so syntax, if you see here, the structure, first code inside the loop, do body inside, first it will execute, then check the condition, right? This is the code, whatever you're writing in the do block, that will execute first, then your condition will be checked. If condition is true, again controller passing to the do block. If the condition is true, the code inside the do block will execute, comes inside and checks the condition at the end. If the condition is false, it exits the loop again. This the diagrammatic picture is very easy to understand. Right? This is the very easy to understand how the flow is going on. See, first flow, it will come to do block. This is a do block, right? So do block will execute. Then comes to condition. And the condition is true, again controller passing to do block. If condition is true, keep passing to the do block. So the flow is going to do block again if condition is true. Every time condition you are checking at the end, but the first code is executed. And false, when the condition is false, the code inside the code outside of the block loop will execute. So that's very clearly explained. But these are not the correct examples. I'll show you below. Best examples are there for do while loop. So do while loop examples, we have two programs we'll write. The two programs are very, very important. Again, I'm printing 1 to 10 with do while loop. So 1 to 10 means int I equal to 1, do, curly braces start, system dot out dot print, I value I'm printing, comma, and I plus plus, curly braces end, while I less than or equal to 10. That's the do while. First, these statements will execute, then condition will be checked, right? So that's the one thing. And another thing, 10 to 1 I am printing, but this is not the best examples for do while loop. Here are the let's see infinite do while loop, then we'll go for the examples. If the condition of loop will never false, then it's an infinite do while loop. So you can see here, int I equal to 0, do, system dot out dot println I plus plus, while I greater than 0. Say I greater than 0 means always I is going to be greater than 0. Here I value you are updating every time. That's why it won't become a false here, because you given a wrong conditional operator here. That's why it is going to repeat every time and it is keep going, never become false. That's why this code will generate infinite do while loop. Another example, int I equal to 0, do, system dot out dot println I plus plus, while true. You are hard coded the condition value as a true. so that this also never going to become false. That's why this also generates infinite loop. That's one. So now I am coming exact programs with a do while loop. So what this program will do? I want to add numbers until my choice is y means yes, no means it will exit. If my choice is yes, you enter one more number, it will sum up for previous sum value. And if yes, enter all the numbers, whatever the numbers you are entering, all those numbers has to be summed up and give the output to you. And you are going to choose the condition. The condition is yes, that is true, and it is going to repeat one more time. You need to enter the number, your choice, whatever the number you want to enter. Until that, your code has to be executed. So that's the adding numbers, and until your choice is no. Until your choice is no, you keep adding the numbers. All those numbers will be summed up. So that's the program. And how to do this? How to do this? So I'm going to use again scanner class here to supply the data from keyboard, because I'm giving input from the keyboard only. So this is the public static void main. You can write your own method also, no issues. Int value. So this value variable will hold the data entered by the user. So you are going to enter the data that will hold, that will store in this value variable. Then int sum equal to 0. So the sum is, you're going to add up this value and sum value, previous sum value, and the newly added newly entered input data will be summed up with this variable. And choice is, okay, you want to enter one more number and you tell yes or no. If yes means, it will ask you enter the number one more time. So that's what we are going to see, that how you can add up until your condition becomes false. Until your choice is no, you keep on adding. So create a scanner object for keyboard input. So how to create a scanner object? Scanner console equal to new scanner system.in. It's the scanner class. Why we are creating object? Use these class methods. I want to use these class methods. That's why I've created object. And system.in is the one which takes the input data from the keyboard. That's why I'm passing system.in to my scanner class. Do curly braces start, do syntax. Do curly braces start, system.out.print, enter integer. So we are entering the integer value. So how can you enter integer value? I told you, next int method is there. Console dot next int method is there in the scanner class. So that value we are storing here in the value variable. Then once I get a value and I'm summing up to sum variable. Sum equal to sum plus value. This value I'm adding to previous sum value. So then enter the y for yes, n for no. You enter the value. So yes or no you enter. So then choice, this character value we are getting. This character value we need to get. That value I'm getting. Choice equal to console dot next method will give us the string dot caret of 0. Char at method will fetch the character. It returns the char data type data. That's why the variable data type is char. Choice data type is a char here. Observe here. So, and the return type value and the variable name equal to, and this string dot caret of 0. You enter yes. In the yes, first character is y, right? So that's why we'll bring here and from here. If you enter no, so the first character in the no is n. So n will store here. Only one character. Who is fetching that n from no and yes Y from S, this caret method. Caret of 0. 0 means first index. In this is the group of characters, right? The group of characters. In this first character means Y. In this first character means N. So 0 means first character in this any string. So that's a caret method. It is a predefined method in the string class that will fetch the character at the given index. And the return type of this method is so char data type. So in the string class, you have 100% methods are return type methods. Every method is a return type method. No void methods at all, because every string it fetches the data. So now see that these are all logic we have written in the do block. And while choice equal to y or choice equal to capital Y, right? And then it keep on iterating. If this condition is true, right? If this condition is true, the choice value is y or capital Y. So it keep on iterating, and first do block will execute. The last choice is going to check. Then final sum value you print it. So this is the how to write adding a value until your choice becomes no. Any questions? This is the one program we need to do. So exactly this is matching the do while loop. First code is executing, then condition is checking at the end, then condition is checking at the end. Any questions?
So Ramesh, the same kind of program, if you have to do, I'm just trying to understand what would be the cases where we have to apply this do while loop. So the same kind of program, is it possible to execute with the regular while loop?
While loop? No, not possible. So because first you want to execute your statements, then you want to check the condition, then you go for the do while loop. Not like that.
Okay.
First you want to check the condition, then statements you want to execute, then while loop is the best. But irrespective of condition, first you want to execute the statements. So like this. So first you want to execute the statements first initially, then end you check the condition, then you need to go for the do while loop. So that means you are telling do the statements, then check the condition. But in the while loop, not like that, right? First check the condition in the while loop, then execute the statements. That's a very simple difference. So there in the while loop, first condition will be checked. If condition is true, then only your statements will execute. But in the do while, it is not like that, right? First statements are executing. If next condition is false, also no problem. But at least once your statements are executed. But there in the while loop, if condition is false in the first attempt itself, your statements, single statement also not going to execute. That is the difference between while loop and do while loop.
Got it. Thanks, Ramesh.
Yes. One more interesting problem is there. So following example, you just said do while loop to implement the guessing number game. So you need to guess the number. What we are doing, we are generating one random number. That random number, you need to guess it until you guess the correct number. It keep going. So that's the it's a good game. It's a kind of game, right? You are playing. So until you succeed, you keep doing, right? That's the guessing number. So I'll generate one random number. So that random number you have to guess exactly. If you are guessing a less number, I'll tell you clearly. So, oops, you guessed a wrong number. Try again. So less than guess number you guess, try again. Then if you are guessing more than the random number, then I'll tell you, okay, you guessed more than the random number. And another condition I'll tell, okay, you guessed it correctly. So like that, 3 conditions I need to check. More than one condition, if I want to check what conditions we need to use, what conditional statements we need to use.
If else.
If else is only one only, right, madam? 1 or 2 only. True, false only. But I have more.
Nested
So
if else.
nested if else we have to use. So 3 conditions you have to check here. So nested if else we have to use. So let's see this nested if else I'm using inside the do while loop. And first, so it int number, random number, I'll hold the random number here. I'll store random number in this variable, and int guess. So I'm going to guess the number every time. This guess variable will hold the number guessed by the user, because you are going to enter from the keyboard. So your guess number that will be stored in this guess number variable. I didn't create object for a scanner class because you have to enter the number. That's why. Scanner console equal to new scanner system.in, right? To enter your input, your guess number you need to enter. So you should, the guess number should match with the random number. So until that you are going to keep doing that. If your guess number is not equal to a random number, you keep doing one more time, right? First your statements will be executed. First it will check your guess number and random number is same or not. Then it will check the condition. So not same, keep doing one more time. So that's the one thing. And first generate the random number in 1 to 100. How to generate the random number in 1 to 100? Which class we need to use to generate the random numbers?
Math class.
So math class we have to use math.random multiply by 100. If you do, you will get a random number and typecast it to integer because we want integer number, right? So that's the random number how to get. So this one do. So I generate the random number so that I can use this random number anywhere in the do block also. So outside the do block I generated and I kept it so that I can use anywhere. So in the block also I can use because outside, right? That's why. So system.out.print, enter an integer number between 1 to 100. So guess equal to console.next int method. So next int method is a return type method. That's why I'm storing in the integer type variable. Guess is an integer type variable. Can you see that? First I declared the integer variable. That variable I'm assigning a value here. Here I'm assigning a value in this line. If guess number equal to random number, so you guessed the correct number, first condition. Else if guess less than number, less than the random number, system.out.println, your guess is lower than the random number, so guess again. So else your guess is higher than the number, guess again. So this is the nested if else we are using here. More than 2 conditions, right? Total 3 conditions. So then it will come here. And while the last condition I'm writing, while guess is not equal to number, and until the guess equal to number, you keep iterating. Guess not equal to number means that is true. It will keep going. If guess equal to random number means the condition it will come, first condition itself will be successful and it will come here and next number it will check. So that's how the code will be executed. First statements will be executed, then condition will be checked at the end. This is the do while loop. So we'll do these 2 programs, then we'll go for the for loop. Okay, so first you need to add a number until your choice becomes no. Until your choice becomes no. So this program you cannot do with the while loop. Okay, because first choice you cannot check there, right? First itself choice is no means your code is not going to exist. This is you need to add more values, and then at the end you ask the choice. So do you want more? Do you want to add more numbers? So you ask. So S means one more number you can add. And the second program is you need to guess the number. So these are the programs we'll see now. So I'm going to write the programs, these 2 while loop programs. So I'll create a do while loop class, do while demo. create a class do while demo. Okay, I'll write two methods. Okay, I'll write two methods. So one is add value public. So we'll static or non-static methods you want. Last class we created a static, right? Let me write public void. So add value method. So this is the one. So declare variables. Declare variables. So variable declaration means what is the syntax? So data type variable. That's a declaration of variable means. Assign a value means equal to will be there. But declaring variables just a data type variable name. That's it. Now int value. So this is the one, whichever the data you are adding, so that will go and store in the value variable to hold the user input in value variable. Next, so int is sum equal to 0. Initially sum is 0. I'm taking char choice. What is your choice? So these are the three variables we are taking here. Three variables we are taking here. So the next step, immediately create an object for scanner class. Scanner SC object equal to new scanner of system.in. So this you can use whenever you want input at runtime, your data you can use. Otherwise you can take parameters also. So here you can take parameter if you don't want to so supply from the keyboard. By calling the method itself you want to supply, take the parameters. And no, I want to give a input from the keyboard while running the program is you take a scanner class. So it's up to you. Whichever you want, you can take java.util package. This scanner is available. Just import that util package. Inside the scanner is available. Now, first, so add the value, right? So you do the do curly braces. So I'll just enter the value. So value equal to and sc object dot next int method. See, next int is a return type method. That's why we are storing in the integer type of variable. Values of what data type? Integer. I declared here, I am assigning on the 19th line. So value I'm giving for this value variable in the 19th line. Next, sum equal to sum plus value. So now you get the choice. Now check whether you want to add one more value. So one more value or not. Now you can just do choice equal to enter your choice. I'll just give this system.out.println and enter your choice. Y for yes, N for no. Okay, so enter your choice. What choice you want? Choice equal to the variable character data type variable, local variable. Just declared. I am assigning a value here. Without assigning a value of local variables, you cannot use. That's why I'm assigning a value for this choice. Here also value variable we assigned. So sc object. So dot next method. See that next method. Here is the next method. So this next method returns a string type data. So and it returns a string type data. That's why. But string we don't want, right? What we want? We want a character data we want. So how can you get from this? This is now string dot caret of so 0. If we give caret of 0, you will get a so the value here character it will fetch stores in this, right? While so I'm going to put up brackets choice equal to small y, so double equal, or choice equal to capital Y. If it is your choice is yes, one more time it will come inside the do block. This entire code will execute and it will keep continuing until your choice is becoming no. So that's the one, and I'm printing that sum value. So what we are doing here, you are summing up the numbers until your choice is becoming no. So you keep on adding the values, keep on adding the values to the sum, and that's the one total sum value is so sum. So because why I didn't declare inside the do block, these variables I declared outside the block inside a method. That means, so you can use these local variables inside the block and also outside also in the same method, because local variable, right? Local variable you can use anywhere inside the method. So that's what concept. If you declare these variables also inside this block, inside the block means only inside block only you can use. Remember that point also. Wherever you declare, only there you can access, not outside of that block. But I declared inside the method. So method inside means in the method anywhere I can access, even in the block and outside the method also. So outside the method means outside the block also I can use. That's the local variables where the scope for them. So we already discussed very clearly local variables where you can access them. Inside the method, you can access anywhere in the same method. That's what I used here. I declared here, I'm using them here. I'm using them here. So I declared on the top method inside, above the block, I'm using anywhere wherever I need that variable, right? So this is the sum variable I'm using here. Here also I used, here also I'm using. So this is the do while loop, very simple one. Okay, so let's see how efficiently it is going to execute. So if I want to execute a non-static method, this is the non-static method, right? How can you execute this non-static method in this class?
Create the object.
Create object.
To create object.
Create object for this class. So let's create object for the class. Create object for the class. So class name, reference of object equal to new class name parenthesis semicolon. So class name is while demo, do while, dw equal to dw object equal to, so new do while. So this class object I am calling, that's why I'm creating object for that. So dw object, so dot add value. So now if you execute first, it will ask to enter the value. So I'll enter some value. See that. Now I'll add 2-3 numbers. I will add. So all those sums. See, enter the value. So 5. So enter your choice. I'll enter yes. See from yes. So yes, I pressed the enter yes. That's why it is true, right? This condition is becoming true here. If the condition is true, what is I explained? Again, controller passing it to do block, right? And it is again it is coming here. So that's why entering it is asking one more time, enter the value. So I'll enter 4. So enter your choice. So now I'll enter all uppercase. See that even you enter uppercase also, it will take, right? So I'm entering. So now I will enter no. Now see, total sum is 15, right? So how many numbers we entered? 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 6, 15. Is it correct? So until your choice is becoming a no, it's keep doing. It is keep doing. So now when you enter now, what is happening here? So that choice no option itself is not there. That means false. So choice is the Y or capital Y must be there. But you are entered N. So choice is N. That means false here. False means it doesn't go again. The controller doesn't pass to do block again. So it will exit here itself and it will execute out of the loop and it is executing this. That's why this executed last line. When your choice is no and this statement is executed, because this condition is false. False means it comes outside of the loop. It is coming here. So this until your choice is no and it's keep doing, adding the values, asking the numbers. Those enter number is going to add to previous sum value. Whatever the previous sum value is there, that will keep adding to the value. That's how to do that. Any questions before going to the guessing number?
No, Ramesh.
Okay. So then protected. So void guess my guess the random number. It's a kind of game, this one, right? Until you correctly guess, it keep asking, never going to stop, right? That's why you need to guess the number so correctly. Now see that declare variables first. So what is that variable declaration syntax? Data type. That's it. You are not going to assign value here. That's a declaration. So I want how many values? So one is random number, another one is guess number. Int, so random number declared, int guess number, right? So this is used to hold the random value and declaring a variable to hold the random value. So declaring a variable to store user input. Okay, so you are giving input, that's why I'm storing here. First generate the random number. Okay, so generate the random number. You generate the random number. So how can we generate the random number? So I will assign to this random number variable. I'll assign to this random number variable equal to, so math dot random method, and I'm going to multiply by 100. So just do that, typecast it, because the left side is a double data it is giving, but right side double data it is giving, but left side you declared as integer. That's why you'll get a type mismatch error. How can you avoid type mismatch error? So what is the left side data type? Integer. So I'm typecasting here with the integer so that you will get a random number, integer value. So this is how to generate. Now create object for scanner class. Scanner SC object equal to new scanner system.in. So now do block. So I started do block first. So enter your guess number. Enter the guess number. So guess number equal to SC object dot next int method you call. Then so what we need to do? So you got the guess number. Now you need to compare this random number, your guess number is same or not. You need to compare. How can you compare? Condition. Just put if condition. If so guess number is equal to random number, and you can simply say that rand number, not random, rand number. Okay, so you can say simply you guessed the correct random number. Else if guess number is less than random number, guess number is less than random number, so then you print your guess number is less than random number, try again. Else so you can say your guess number is greater than random number, try again. So this is all the conditions you are going to check. So while guess number is not equal to random number, okay, until this condition becoming false, keep iterating. So that's the how to guess your random number. So let's call that, see that how difficult it is, and keep guessing. You have to guess correctly. So that's the method I'm just calling this. I commented this method because again it will ask a scanner object one more time, so I don't want that. So dw object dot guess my number, guess random number. So that's what. Okay, so we don't know random number exactly. I'll enter some random values, 45. So it will tell clearly your guess number is less than the random number. That means still random number is more than 45. So try it out one more time. I will enter. Your guess number is less than random number, still it is above. That means I'll go to the 90. Still less than, that means it is between 90 and 100 only. So you can 95, 98. So greater than, that means 97 or 96. So you guessed the correct random number. 97 is the random number. See that how many steps it is taking up, right? So based on these statements, you can keep moving up and you can guess the correct number. So this many, first we entered 45, 70, 90. So then we got easily, right? It got between the 90 to 100. So we guessed it correctly. So this is the kind of a game, right? So you're playing around. So that at the end you are getting correct number you guessed. Last we entered 97. 97 is the random number. So this is the how you can play around with the do while loop. So this is all. How is it possible? If the every time condition is not true, condition is true, that means you are supplying to do block. The controller is going back to the do block. But in the while loop, it is not like that. First itself, check the condition. If condition is true, it will come inside. And so that's how the do while loop will execute. Any questions before going for a for loop? Okay.
Yes.
So if you have any doubt, let me know before going to the next program. Not program, next for loop. Any questions? Sri Lakshmi,
No, Ramesh.
Lakshmi,
No, Ramesh.
Priyanka, Swati.
No, sir. No, sir. No, Ramesh.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a while loop. Now we're going back to next one. Very important, widely used loop is for loop. So what is a for loop? What is a while loop? So while loop you can use when you don't know number of iterations, only condition you know, you can use while loop. But I want to execute my loop till particular number of iterations I know, then you go for the for loop. So if a user wants to execute a block of code several times, it means number of iterations is fixed. You know the number of iterations, then you go for a for loop. So Java provides a concise way of writing the loop structure. It consists of 4 parts. One is initialization. In the while loop also initialization will be there. Then condition. So here also you have to write the condition in the for loop. Body of the for loop, then increment and decrement. This sequence only execution also will happen. Even in the while loop also this sequence executed, right? Initialization, condition, then body. Even while loop also body executed. Then increment is or decrement is executed for you. Same here also. But the difference of structure between while and for loop is for loop you will get all the things in the single line you will write. For bracket, initialization, semicolon, condition, semicolon, increment or decrement. So if you write in the same line, that means all 3 will execute? No. Always first initialization it will start, condition it will check. If a condition is true, where it will go? If condition is true, what will happen? It will go inside the body. It will go inside the for loop body. It won't go here. It won't come here. If condition is true. If condition is true, what will happen? Immediately cursor will jump into the for loop body. Once for loop statements are all executed, then finally it will come to this increment or decrement part. Then it will update your variable value. Once you get an updated value here, where the cursor will go again? The condition place. Checks the condition. If condition is true, immediately jump into the for loop body. Once the for loop statements are executed, again it will go to update your variable value. Once you get the new updated value, again controller pass it to condition place. If condition is true, controller will move inside the for loop body. So this is the way how it executes the code. So don't go here condition, then immediately don't check the increment and decrement. No. First condition it will check. If condition is true, the controller will come inside the for loop body. All the statements will be executed. Then once the statements inside the for loop is done, it will go to increment and decrement part. And that's how code will execute. So initialization is the first part of loop. The first part of loop is initialization. And it happens only one time. Only one time it will be initialized. Then I value is not in our control. I value keep changing here in the third part. It marks the start point of the loop. So what you can see, initialization means start point of the loop, where you want to start. That you will initialize here. Here you can declare and initialize the variable, or you can use any already initialized variable on the top also. Maybe you already on the for loop above you initialized, and you can use that variable also. It's up to you. Both you can do. or directly you can initialize here, declare and initialize. Next, second, condition. Condition is the second part of the loop, and we must provide or write a condition that must return Boolean value either true or false. So it is executed each time to test the condition of the loop, and it continues the execution until the condition becoming false. So that's the condition part, second part. Next, see, condition part after where it is going, body of the loop, body of the for loop. So once the condition is true, directly cursor will jump into the, so body of the statements will be executed, right? After evaluating the condition true, the cursor will come into the body. Don't go to third part. Understand here, very clearly given. Read the statements and understand that. Then finally, once the statements are executed, increment and decrement part will execute. It is used to update the index value of the variable. It is used to update the index value of the variable. Your variable value will be updated in the third part later. Once the body is executed, finally first update the variable value, then controller will pass to condition, then statements, then increment or decrement, again condition. If condition is becoming true, it keeps checking the condition. If true means comes inside, and statements will execute in the body, then goes to increment decrement part. Again you will get a new value, again go to condition. If condition is true, comes inside to the body, again the updated value, again go to condition. If condition is false, it is not going to pass inside the for loop body until condition is false. If condition becoming false, and so keep iterating the loop. That's the thing. So let's see simple example. Print 1 to 10 numbers with a for loop. So for, see, 1 to 10, so ascending order. So my initialized value is 1, so int I equal to 1, semicolon. Second part, condition, I less than or equal to 10, semicolon, I plus plus. First what I'm doing, first I equal to 1, I'll come to condition. So I value 1, 1 less than or equal to 10, true. So then immediately where I will go, into the body, system.out.print, I value 1, so 1 will print, because I have given a tab here, tab slash t means tab, the space will come here. Next where it will go, it will go to I plus plus now. So understand here, first checking the condition, immediately I'm jumping into the for loop body, and the statement, one statement only we have here, that is print statement, and that executed. Again it will go to I plus plus. I plus plus means 1 plus 1, I value 1 plus 1, 2, so I value is 2. So 2, again you got an updated I value, right? Where it will go, it will go to condition place. Now what is I value? 2, 2 less than 10, true, comes inside, 2 will print. Again goes up to the third part, 2 plus 1, 3. So you got the latest updated value, again condition will check, 3 less than 10, true, comes inside, 3 will print. So after that again it goes to third part, I plus plus. So current I value 3, 3 plus 1, 4, and again goes to, you got the latest I value 4, and I greater than or equal to 10, so that is 4 less than or equal to 10, sorry, 4 less than or equal to 10, true, comes inside, 4 will print. Again goes to increment part, 4 plus 1, 5, so again go to condition, 5 less than or equal to 10, true, comes inside, 5 will print. Again goes up, I plus plus, 5 plus 1, 6, now I value 6, so check the condition, 6 less than or equal to 10, true, comes inside, 6 will print. again goes up, 6 plus 1, 7. So again goes to condition 7 less than or equal to 10, true, comes inside, 7 will print. Again 7 plus 1, 8. So you got a latest I value. So again check the condition, 8 less than or equal to 10, true, comes inside, 8 will print. Again goes to third part, 8 plus 1, 9. So you got a 9 latest I value. So again check, replace with I value 9, 9 less than or equal to 10, true, comes inside, 9 will print. Again goes here, I plus plus, 9 plus 1, 10. So 10 less than 10 false, but 10 equal to 10, true, comes inside, 10 will print. Then 10 plus 1, 11. So 11 less than or equal to 10 false, it doesn't come inside. So till 10 only it will print. So this is the, so how, if you write this, no, at least once if you practice, then you can understand the for loop. Otherwise, it's not possible to understand. So that's why I'm telling, while practice time, you write all the iterations, very simple, right? 1 to 10 only. Take a pen and paper, keep practicing. And if you're not doing that, it's gone. It's not possible. So next, here clear explanation I have given, and so you can go through that. So this is the for loops. See that first initialized value. So it is passing to condition. See that arrow mark, initialization after you are passing to condition. So condition is true. See the for loop body is executing. See the arrow mark, you see that. So it is, if the true, the condition is true, it is coming here. If the condition is true, it is coming here to the system.out.println, that is for loop body. And after that, cursor where it is going immediately after the body, inside the statements execution, after cursor is going to I plus plus part. After you increment, again test the condition. So see that from increment after, see the condition is going to condition press. Increment after, the controller is going to this condition press. If condition is false, see that where the control is going, out of the loop. See loop body. So this is the loop body, starts here, ends here. It is going out of the loop if the condition is false. So that's a, if you understand this diagram, it's very, very, very easy. See that all arrow marks properly given. If condition is true, the loop is rotating on these three only. Condition, body, increment. Again condition, body, increment. Again condition is true, body, increment. Again condition. Every time you updated a value, will pass it to the condition. So if the condition is true, comes inside the loop body, and loop body statements will execute. Again control goes to this updated value. You want to get updated value, it will go to this third part. So after checking the condition, it doesn't go to condition, the increment part. Again I'm repeating this, many people do the mistake here. Once check the condition, immediately cursor will jump into the for loop body. Once the check the condition, where the cursor will go, into the for loop body. In the body, statements are executed, finally it will go to third part, that is increment part, or updating the your variable value. Once the value is updated, that value is passed to the condition. If the condition is true, again repeats the same steps until your condition become false. If condition is false, it will go to out of the loop. Clear, very clearly given the controlled flow diagrams. So this, if you have any problems, like 10 to 1, so same story. Okay, so this already we have done. How many times below program will execute? For int I equal to 2, less, so I less than or equal to 20, I multiply by I. See that I have written clearly 2 less than or equal to 20, true. So first 2 will print. Again it will come to here, this part, right? Condition after, I'm jumping directly to body inside. Then I'm updating after this statement. Then cursor is going to this updated value to get the updated value. I is 2 multiplied by I is 2. 2 multiplied by 2, 4 you got. Then once you get the latest I value, where it is going? It is going to condition. 4 less than or equal to 20, true. So comes inside 4 will print. Again, 4 multiplied by 4, 16. It came here. After the print statement, then cursor came here. Third part. And 4 less than 4 multiplied by 4, 16. 16 will print. And so you got this 16 value, and it will come here. After printing 16, it will come here. 16 multiplied by 16, 256. So once you got the latest I value, it will go to condition. So 256 less than or equal to 20, false. It doesn't come in. So now, can you tell me this? How many times this will execute? For int I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I minus 1. So how many times this will execute? So the answer is infinite here. The answer is infinite. That's what, if you execute, you will get it. So first, I equal to 1. 1 less than or equal to 10, true. So hello will print. So what is happening next? I minus minus. What is the I value? 1. 1 minus 1, 0. So that 0 less than 10, true, comes inside. One more time, hello will print. Now where it will go? So current I value 0. 0 minus 1, minus 1. So minus 1 less than or equal to 10, true, comes inside. Hello will print. Again, minus 1, minus 1, minus 2. So minus 2 less than or equal to 10, true, hello will print. Again, minus 2, minus 1, minus 3. Minus 3 less than or equal to 10. It keep going, never stops here. So minus 3, minus number, negative numbers, it's keep going. All minus numbers are less than 10 only, right? So where it will stop? There is no stop here. Let's keep moving, and it's an infinite loop, it will go. Okay, so another infinite loop, you can see here, for int I equal to 0, I greater than 0, I plus plus. So system.out.println I. Here also you can see 0 equal to 0 true, comes inside, 0 will print. And 0 plus 1 next, 1. 1 greater than 0, true. So 1 will print. 1 plus 1, now current I value 1. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 greater than 0, true, comes inside, 2 will print. Again goes to third part, 2 plus 1, 3. 3 greater than 0, now it goes to condition, right? Condition is true. Next, I value print 3. So 3 plus 1, 4. 4 greater than 0, true. And 4 will print. And it is keep going until infinite. So this is another infinite loop. That's what if you execute only, you will understand. And that's why I'm saying one by one you execute. Practice now itself. If you practice only, you will give a correct answer. And if you are not doing like this, why I'm doing like this? This is the process. While learning time, you do like this. Once you are perfect, then you don't need to do this. You can easily answer that. And without doing that, and simply you are telling unnecessarily wrong answer here. What is the hurry? Tell me. That's what you need to understand. The concepts is the very, very important. The concepts, if you understand, and your programming skills will improve. Okay, so here I'm not giving anything. So this, right, you can see the importance of Boolean expression and increment, decrement operation coordination here. The initialization part set the value of variable I equal to 0. The Boolean expression always returns a true because I is incrementing by 1. This would eventually lead to the infinite loop condition. So here also see that here you are not giving any initialization, any condition, nothing. And then it will keep iterating to infinite loop. This one also. This is also returns. So this is the interview question, this one, multiple choice, they will give like this. So this also leads to infinite loop. So if you copy this and executes, so this will go to infinite loop, infinite for loop. So anything I can write in the method, right? Only this all control structures I can write. So I'll say is Java. So it will go infinite. Until you stop, it doesn't stop. See that? Printing Java. See, red mark means it is running. It is executing your program. See, it is keep going. So it's infinite. It doesn't stop. So that's the infinite loop. This syntax will generate infinite loop. So for loop parenthesis inside 2 semicolons if you put, so it will generate the infinite loop. Let me comment out this. So let me show you one more infinite loop. So for, so int I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I minus 1. This also generates infinite loop. Now if you don't want Java, let me write a value, directly value. So I value I'll write. I'll just put I value so that you can see what is the I value every time. See that minus values, all minus values. So that's how it will keep going infinitely. All the numbers, minus numbers, are less than 10 only. So that's why it will go infinite. So this is the infinite numbers how to generate. So are simply 1 to 10 if you want to print, you can just try this. Private static, so void print 1 to 10 using for loop. Very simple program. I'm not doing very complicated. See everything. So let me write a syntax first, for loop syntax. Multiple times you write, then you won't forget. That's the while practicing time. Started executing the print 1 to 10. So all the programs, while loop programs, you do with the for loop. That's exercise for you. So what is the exercise? So all the while loop programs, whatever we have done, every program you do with the for loop. So int I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. So I plus slash t. So ln I will remove so that in the same line it will print. I'll bring the cursor to next line. That's it. Just call this. Guess static method you can call directly. Let me comment out this. Static method I can call directly, right? So this 1 to 10 it will print. That only 1 to 10 printed. So 10 to 1 also you can write those programs, very simple programs. So that's the, even write a instance method to find out the sum of n numbers. Sum of n numbers you can find out with the for loop. Same programs, whatever we did with the while loop, you do with the for loop also. Just convert them into for loop. While loop you convert into for loop. That's it. So public, the method is returning integer type of amount, the value. So find sum of for any natural numbers you give. So declare and assign a value sum as a 0 for int j equal to 1, j less than or equal to n. So the n value whatever you are giving, that will come and place here, semicolon j plus plus. Sum equal to sum plus every j value you add to previous sum value, then return the sum value. That's how find the sum of n values. So this logarithmic table, so we don't want to do this all these things, but if you know, if you want to do more logic, you can do math.log of I. So max value whatever you're giving, so you can get the logarithmic values, but that's not important for us. Okay, so next, another important is a nested for loop. So nested for loop, this nested for loop means what? Nested for loop is one for loop inside the another for loop. What is the nested for loop means? One for loop inside another for loop you will write. The inner for loop executes completely after complete execution of the outer for loop. So first what will happen? First outer for loop condition will check. If condition is true, comes inside the inner for loop. Until that condition is true, the inner for loop body keep going to iterate. So for inner for loop will execute completely. If the condition of inner for loop is false, then it will go to outer for loop, this increment and decrement. Catch again, I'm telling you again, explaining one more time. So nested for loop means one for loop inside another for loop is called nest. One for loop inside. See, for loop syntax is this one, right? For bracket, initialization, semicolon, condition, semicolon, increment or decrement part. So curly braces start. The outer for loop body starts. Then inner for loop I am writing one more for loop for initialization, semicolon, condition, semicolon, increment or decrement part. So then your inner for loop body you need to start again, right? This is the outer for loop body ends here, but inner for loop starts here, ends here. First this inner for loop iterate for all the iteration. One time it will come, then inner for loop will execute all the iteration. If the condition becoming false, then controller goes back to outer for loop here. So it will update the value, your variable value, then it will give to condition. If the condition is true, comes inside. Then inner for loop, it will check the condition and body will execute. Then increment or decrement. Again, condition will check. The body will execute. Again, increment or decrement. Then you will get updated I value or j value. So the condition will check. Body will execute. Until this condition becoming false, just keep iterating. If condition become false, then it will go to outer for loop increment decrement part. If the outer for loop also false, it doesn't come inside. So both loops will be exited. If outer for loop condition is false, inner for loop is not going to. Okay, that's a nested for loop means. And so let's see here. So this is the nested for loop. For int I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 3, I plus plus. For inner for loop, int j equal to 1, j less than or equal to 3, j plus. Basically, with a nested for loop, you can frame a table. You can frame a table, rows and columns wise. That's a nested for loop always. And system.out.println I plus, I'm putting a comma between I and j. So j value both I'm printing. I value and j value I'm printing. See that? So that means 3 rows and 3 columns. So 3 rows and 3 columns you are taking. That's the table you will get. First, I value 1. What I told you, first it will initialize, then it will come to condition. 1 less than or equal to 3. True. So what I told you, it will come into inner for loop. So that is a true, it came here. Now j value 1. So second part condition, 1 less than or equal to 3. True. Comes inside. I value 1, no, j value 1. First time. So that will be next. So where it will go? Here only. In the inner for loop only. Now j value will update. So first j value 1, right? 1 plus 1, 2. And you got a latest j value 2. It will go to condition. 2 less than or equal to 3. True. Comes inside. I value still 1 only. J value is 2. So 1, 2 will print. Again, it will go to j plus plus. The statement execution after it will go to condition, the increment or decrement part, right? So j value now currently 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 less than or equal to 3, true. Comes inside. I value 1, j value 3. So 1 comma 3 will print. See that? Row is same, columns are increment. Row, first row, all columns. That means first row, all columns. Now j value will update. 3 plus 1, 4. 4 less than or equal to 3. True or false? 4 less than or equal to 3. True or false?
False.
False.
False means what I told you. It won't come inside this loop, inner for loop. It will go to outer for loop, this I plus plus. So now current I value is 1, right? 1 plus 1, 2. Now here it will come 2 less than or equal to 3. True. Comes inside the inner for loop. So again starts with j equal to 1. 1 less than or equal to 3. True. And it will come inside. After condition it will come. I value currently 2. So 2 and j value 1. So 2, 1 will print. Second row, first column. Now j value will update. 2, 1 plus 1, 2. Now it will go to condition. 2 less than or equal to 3. True. Comes inside. I value 2, j value 2. So 2 comma 2 will print. Again j value will update. 2 plus 1, 3. So 3 less than or equal to 3. True. Comes inside. I value 2, j value 3. So 2 comma 3 will print. So then, so now j value will update. 3 plus 1, 4. 4 less than or equal to 3, false. So cursor automatically goes to outer for loop I plus plus. Currently I value 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 less than or equal to 3, true. Comes inside. So it will come into the inner for loop and it will execute j equal to 1. 1 less than or equal to 3, true. Comes inside. I value 3, j value 1. 3 comma 1 will print. Again j value will update. Inner for loop only will iterate all the columns. It will iterate. So inner for loop is always represent the columns. Outer for loop always represent the rows. And j value will be 2. 2 less than or equal to 3, true. And comes inside I value 3, j value 2. 3 comma 2 will print. Now j value will update. 2 plus 1, 3. So 3 less than 3, true. Comes inside I value 3, J value 3 comma 3 will print. Now J value update to 4 less than or equal to 3 false. False means it will go to outer for loop. So I value already 3 plus 1 4 less than or equal to 3 false, completely comes out of the both for loops. So this is the how the inner for loop will be executed. How many of you understand this inner for loops and nested for loops? Anybody having doubt?
No, sir.
Any questions? So in this example, we have two for loops. One is outer for loop, another one is an inner for loop. So outer and inner loop is initialized by variable and has some conditions. The inner loop iterations are totally dependent on the outer for loop, right? So that's the one. And same you can do rectangle pattern. So rectangle pattern also you can execute. So maximum rows is 4, maximum columns is 5. See rectangle pattern, right? This is the rows is plus and columns is increasing. That is a rectangle pattern. You can print star every time. You can print a star. That also, this all I will explain later. Okay, but this the see local variables. I can declare final variable, final int max rows, final int max columns. See variable name, final variable name. You can write always capital letters. Final variable names. That's what I told you. Variable final variables how you declare. Then star. So it will print like that. And this is the one program. Another triangle pattern. You can print a triangle pattern also. So the size is 6 and so you'll get like this pattern. All is possible with the inner for loops only. Okay, tomorrow we'll do this. So any questions, let me know. So the exercise for you is I'm missing all of you doing exercises. You should not do that. And excuses are not acceptable. And if you excuse, you have to face problem.